Yes.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Bunting.
Here.
Commissioner Gay.
Here.
Commissioner Sapsy.
Here.
Commissioner Owens.
Here. George, can we get you to pray for us?
Yes, please. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the day that you've given to us and the blessings in it. And we just ask, Father, for continued prayers and blessings for our servicemen overseas and at home. Also our first responders, Father. We ask, Father, that you would keep this weather up, but I know that's not going to happen, but we just appreciate what you've given to us, a little thaw here. We ask now, Father, that you be with us through the rest of this meeting do the good that we can for the folks of Gratiot County. For it's in the name we pray, amen.
Amen. Join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any other additions or deletions to the agenda?
So we do have to add J12, a resolution 376 for the Hazard Migration Assistance Grant Agreement. That was handed out to you before the meeting.
Where the agenda is presented, or
Moved by George, supported by Steve to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Brief public comment. Anybody? Okay.
Afternoon. Bob Baxter, Palm Township Supervisor. Just want to let the commissioners know that the township still has not had any communication with the county on our blight enforcement agreement. And if I'm not mistaken, that is due to be renewed 1st of March. And I haven't heard a word from the county. So just wondering where it stood. Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Bob.
Anybody else? Consideration of the consent calendar.
For the consent calendar is presented, or
Moved by George, supported by Steve to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. And carried. Administrators report.
Few things to update you on. Earlier, about an hour ago, actually, we had a meeting on the airport agriculture lease, meeting with potential bidders. Bids will be due here on March 3rd. We did have one show up. We answered his questions and it was a relatively brief meeting, but a positive sign that at least one proposal appears to be in the works. So that's a good thing. We did have a GIS authority meeting last week on the 11th. The group affirmed the process for updating maps. They talked about possible new data layers for the mapping system and reelected their officers for the coming year. So a relatively routine meeting. At the staff level, we had a meeting with Aquasure. This is the company that provides the health insurance benefits, short-term, long-term disability, life insurance. They reviewed with us our experience over the last year and discussed with us the impact of prescription drugs and what that's doing to our health insurance rates for the county. But we'll have more on that to come later. So we've got a couple of other ideas in the works that we'll be able to present. Just before the meeting today, I got notice of a FOIA appeal that you will have to consider as a board. Now, the way this works under Freedom of Information Act is if somebody feels that something was withheld that shouldn't have been, or something was redacted, or in this case, fees that may be excessive, the statute does allow them to appeal that to this body. So we'll prepare that, get you ready. We'll get the attorney involved, make sure that we've got everything lined up, and we'll conduct that meeting possibly on March 3rd. It might have to wait a little bit after that. Just depends on how complicated this is. This has to do with a FOIA that the treasurer filled. It doesn't look that complicated to me, but we'll see once we have the hearing. And then lastly, I do want to thank Commissioner Bailey for the punchki today. I don't think I'll have to eat again until Saturday. So that was very good, but much appreciated.
George, do you want to start off?
sure. Meetings last week, Monday, Monday would have been with Hamilton Township and North Star. They're deep in the budget now and they're discussing their budgets and they're obviously one of the big part of their budget is the county roads. And that takes a tremendous amount of it. Hamilton Township continues to struggle with these pilts that the state of Michigan is generously giving them at $5 an acre. It's ridiculous. It should never happen, but it falls on deaf ears. It's been going on for years. Over half of their township is in state land. Over half. And the same in Elbow and Parson.
Washington, Fulton, all of them have it.
They got state land and it's just not right. Just not right. So anytime you can speak to a representative, bring that one up. 'Cause it's not right. And then on Tuesday, I went to North Star and North Star doing basically the same thing. They did get one property cleaned up a couple of weeks ago, which is the owner of the property finally got some funds and they cleaned up the house that's been partially tore down for a year. That's all cleaned up, taken care of. And so he plans on putting a house there. Let's hope that all works out for him. Then on the 10th, went to Lafayette and then to Wheeler. And with Lafayette still working on their hall, they're about ready to finalize their drawings for their hall. And then they're looking at bonding that just through the township itself. There will not be a millage. They're just going to bond it through their own funds. The reason why they wanted to bond it is if they wanted to pay for the whole thing, they could, but that runs them short. They're doing the due diligent thing. They're going to bond it. And I think that's a good idea, but they're going to be fine. Wheeler, we're still talking about that Cooper's Corners and that still hasn't changed ownership as far as we know. And so we have to tackle that sometime this week, I got. Also, talking with Wheeler and Breckenridge about transportation, and they really are interested in it. And then meanwhile, I've had 3 other townships speak up to other people in the transportation area, and they were interested in it. So I guess my question to the board is, and I don't know how this would look or anything like that. I just want to know the interest the board would have if we have a group of individuals that come and they want to form an authority, would we support it? And I'm talking for the whole county.
You're talking about countywide transportation then?
Right. But we've got besides the one that's already there, that's Elma, Pine River, St. Louis, and Ithaca.
Okay, yeah.
Now we've got Wheeler interested in it. We got 3 other townships interested in it. So in other words, they would have to, each group would have to form its own authority. That's not going to work, obviously. So I'm just presenting it tonight. We may want to go into deep depth the next meeting, but I'm just curious. You guys are going to go see your folks, and talk to them and see what you think. I think it would, there's got some good points and some not so good points, and we need to talk about those. But I want to be prepared so that if there's a group that comes, they want to start an authority, they want to come to see what kind of a support they're going to get from the commissioners. It's not going to be a Gratiot County authority. It'll be a standalone authority, much like 911 authority. It'd be on that. I'm visioning that. It would be on that. We wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Would it be a millage?
Yeah.
They would run.
They would come and ask for a millage. And right now, the current millage rate, and I wouldn't expect it to go up any at all. They've been doing very well. They asked for 1 mil, but they only collect 0.8. That's all they've been collecting. So that's what it is So I was just putting it out there. You know, talk to whoever you want to talk to, see what their feeling is, but you know, I think it's time for the county to really take a look at it as a county. And I just want to see if the commissioners are in support of that. That's all I got.
Tim?
I went to the Emerson Township meeting, February 9th. I walked in on a special zoning meeting that started at 6 o'clock. The regular meeting starts at 7. They were updating their zoning book from 1979. Many ordinances were passed during the 46 years. They were just recording them. They will meet on Mondays until this process is complete. And the gentleman that mows the cemeteries, the 2 cemeteries, gave his yearly quote, not more than last year. And he will start in April when the Emerson Township's fiscal year starts. And then on February 10th, I went to the Alma City Commission meeting, and they approved a request for a new impeller for a server sewer truck. A resolution to approve a Gratiot County-wide master plan recommended by the Planning Commission. Consideration to approve a request from the Michigan Army National Guard Alma Post to host an archery event, the Highlander Archery Challenge on June 20th. And the meeting only lasted less than a half hour. Okay,
Well, let's try that.
okay, I better read.
Hurry on, team,
I
hurry
better
on.
read fast. I went to a mental health meeting, February 12th. Rachel McGregor, gave a presentation on consumers' right allegations. The allegations were mainly in adult foster homes, and the allegations in 2025 were up quite a bit compared to 2024. Rachel said this might be due to new staff. Many investigations were substantiated, a result of firing the staff involved. I was a direct care worker. Being a direct care worker is a hard job. And so I'm kind of on their side a little bit. I mean, it's a hard job. But of course, you shouldn't ever abuse. And that's it.
Steve?
Last week, went down to farm show in Louisville, so I missed the New Haven, Newark, and Elba. Reached out to all of their township supervisors, and they didn't have anything earth shattering on their. Didn't have to ask you to go on my place or anything, Dave. So last night I attended the North Shade Township meeting. Like Bob, they asked about what's happening with the blight, because March is the month where they typically were renewing it. So I told them as of right now, there wasn't any new movement. However, we talked about it at the last commissioner meeting, that hopefully we can reconvene the group of people and come up with what the new blight program is going to look like. They are working on security cameras. Angie probably knows about this. They are required to have a security camera. All the townships that have a drop-off box are required to have a camera of some sort that can store the data. You see all kinds of things, anything from trail cameras to elaborate security systems on those. They are working on getting theirs all up and running right now. And they are also talking about their budget. They started a little preliminary stuff last night, but next month they'll really be delving into their budget. So that's my report.
Jen?
Okay, I went to Bethany Township meeting, And unfortunately, I did not know that they did not have a meeting that night. I stayed till 7 and I thought they're usually there by 6:30. So, but I still went, there was just nobody there. Also, I had a meeting with Michigan Works this last month. And I'm on the executive board. How that works, Michigan Works, is that there's 5 counties. Saginaw, Bethany, Gratiot, Isabel County, and Midland. And each of them, they go by your population. So for instance, Saginaw has 400,000 people there. They get 5 people on the board that can vote. And then it goes down to the rest of them. Unfortunately, I'm the Gratiot County because our population is so small, there can only be one person that can vote. Now, more people can go, like Tim has gone and sat and he can watch it and listen to it, but he cannot vote. We only have one vote on it. So every so many years, which is, I believe, 5 years, it's due again at the end of this year. So now what they're doing is putting things together. I have a contract. I took, because our new administrator is taking all of our contracts and he will look them over and see if we need to get an attorney or anything like that. Do you still have that contract? I was gonna give that forgot to give it to Angie or give her a copy. So each one of the commissioners, you can read it over and it kind of gives you more of an outline exactly what we do. And I gotta tell you that it's a very good, a thing that I go to. I'm trying to think of a Michigan Works. They're very, even though I don't get one vote, they always listen to me. One of the things that I talked about was because there's just myself and I'm not only on the executive board, but I go to the regular meetings. And so if anything would ever happen that I could not be there, I said, is there a chance that I could have an alternate? Meaning that I would bring somebody else with me. They cannot vote. They would just come and watch, listen, and kind of learn what it's all about. There is so much to Michigan Works that it takes a long time to kind of get the idea of exactly what it's all about, what they do. And also they've had some ups and downs with financial things. And so they have not answered on that. So that was, and I had brought that up before a few times in the last few years, that I really needed to bring someone else along. Well, it used to be it was 2. There were 7. When there were 7 commissioners, there was always 2 on each one of the boards. So if one couldn't go, somebody else could go, or both would go. And there was always, 2 people see things differently too. But anyway, that at the end of this year, we will have to vote on it. And I don't believe that we'd ever want to leave Michigan Works. And the one that we're in, everybody's very easy to get along with and there really is no problems. It's just that I know when I went on the board, I can't remember whose place I took, but it was a real learning curve. It took a long time I mean, the meetings are quick and fast, but there's 2 parts to it. There's the regular meeting, which I go to another meeting on Monday, and there's the executive board meeting. So you're dealing with 2 different things all the time. So that, I kind of brought that back and told our administrator about it and wanted to kind of clue you guys in on what it's all about. And I'll make sure that you get a copy of the contract. We will not vote on the contract at the very end of December. And then it goes for the next 5 years, starting 2027. So we got lots of time for you to read it. And if you have any questions, I can take it back and ask. And the only thing and we talked a lot about it at the last meeting about having a second person. Mount Pleasant, Isabel County has 2. And then it would be Midland and Bay City, they each have 3. And then there's 5 on Saginaw. So that kind of gives you an idea that there's 9 altogether. So that was one of the meetings I went to, and they're not real long, 1.5 2 hours. So it's not bad. So then the next thing I went to was, I think that's it. I was at 2 or 3 things. There were some things I went to, but I didn't put them down. They're just things that I sit in on. Just so I kind of learn a little bit more about county. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I have a Pine River meeting tonight. 7 o'clock. And I sit in on the contract negotiation for the deputies last week. It was all new to me. I'm not used to dealing with contracts and stuff, but it struck me that both sides wanted the best for the deputies.
Mhm.
One side asked for the moon, the other side says, we'd like to give it to you, but we can't. So I was kind of impressed, so. Okay, consideration and
You
new,
know what, can I bring up one more thing that I just remembered?
no, go ahead.
Tomorrow, or no, Thursday at 5:30, the Conservation District is having a dinner and all the commissioners have been invited. And if you want to go to their meeting, you can go at 5 o'clock. They have a half-hour meeting before it. And then at 5:30, and I believe it's free to the commissioners. We're guests. And it's usually well attended. And so I will definitely be there. I go to the Conservation District meetings.
Mhm.
So, and I think you do too once in a while, Steve.
Where's it at?
It's a RESD. Did you get an invitation? You want to go?
Good luck.
Okay, we're gonna go into consideration of new business. And if nobody objects, I think we could take the most of these with one motion. Want to take out number 5, 9, 10, and 12.
Five, 9, and 12, do you want to take out?
5, 9, 10, and 12. And 11.
It's not a policy.
Okay. I hear a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to. Go south.
Let's make it to approve the rest of them.
To approve
Oh, to approve.
1, 2.
All but
Approve all those,
Oh, yeah.
all the
Yeah, I
resolutions. It's all the resolutions.
Make one approval.
I'll second it.
Moved by Tim, supported by Jan, to take resolutions 26,364, 26,365, 26,366, resolution 26,367, resolution 26,369, 26-370, 26,371, all together. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Good work. Good work, Dave.
Thanks, George. Okay. We're at number 5. Resolution to authorize an agreement for an audit of internal controls and accounting procedures. Not to exceed $40,000.
Tim, would you speak a little bit to that so everybody understands what's going on?
Need to do it. Remember back in October, when I was interviewed, I did identify at that stage, based on the about a year's worth of history at the county, that I sensed that there was probably a need to review the internal controls process for all of our accounting functions. And I can say, having nearly 3 months on the job now, I'm more adamant than ever that we do need to do this. And this is where we track how funds are handled when they come to the county, whether they come through the mail, over a counter someplace, however, maybe, fees are assessed even in courts. How is that money processed? Where does it go? Who handles it? How is it recorded and documented? I can say in my experience, sometimes it's kind of tough to follow, and it shouldn't be. What this will do is help us correct that. This firm, if they were hired, would provide us with some insights on some, shall we call, best practices for handling cash, handling all of our accounting processes, on all of our policies. On the, I believe it's like the third page in, you've got a list of the 12 proposals we received. This particular company, the Maynard Custodian Group, I have had some experience with them in the past. They actually employ the individual who used to be the head of the local government audit division at Michigan Department of Treasury. To give you a caliber of employee they have. Each of these 12 proposals was outstanding. Let me tell you, there wasn't a dog in the bunch of them. So it made it pretty easy now, and it really did come down to price. And you can see that we got proposals from across the country. We had one company in Maine, we had one in Nevada, one in the Los Angeles area. I mean, it's a pretty impressive array of where they came from. And to my surprise, some of the out-of-state companies were actually quite competitive in terms of their price. So all that being said, the Maynard firm is again very well qualified to do this work. You have their proposal. That's where that 40,000 figure comes from. Now, for the board's information too, I have been talking to the Department of Treasury. In the past, they've offered financial support for counties who do this sort of thing. In fact, I had one of these done in Ogama. They actually funded 80% of it. I spoke with them last week. They say they don't have quite as much funding available as they used to, but we're certainly on their radar. We're actually in the mix right now for their consideration for funding, but they did certainly encourage us to do this. They thought this was a great idea to bring everything online. And also I spoke with our auditor. Auditor that we use right now, Yo was disqualified from bidding on this because we wanted this to be an independent exercise. The auditor absolutely endorsed that and said, this is something I've been hoping the county would do for a few years now. So I believe with all that input that we're definitely on it. Now it's just a matter of doing it. This resolution would allow us to enter into that agreement with the Maynard group to do it. They would be able in their projection to accomplish this within about 5 months. So by the end of the summer, we would be in pretty good shape in terms of their evaluation recommendations on how to proceed. Any other questions on it?
No, I think it's a fantastic idea. Being what we've went through in the last 12 months, this is a fantastic time to go through this. This wasn't, I didn't get to read all the proposals, but this proposal was very, very well put together.
Yeah.
You can tell they're a very professional company to put that together.
I,
I so move that we approve the resolution 26-368 authorizing agreement for an audit of internal controls and accounting procedures up to $40,000.
second it.
Moved by Steve, supported by Jan to approve resolution 26-368. Authorizing an agreement for audit of internal controls up to $40,000. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, moving down to number 9.
372.
Authorizing adjustments to the fiscal year of the Gratiot County budget. You want to talk on that?
Sure. This is just cleaning up where we are with our contract with the city of Ithaca to provide the policing services. As you know, the contract is December 31st. But when the budget was adopted, that was announced, so the budget has funding for the full year. And you've got all of the line item detail in here, but the nuts and bolts of it add up to this. The Ithaca contract budget will have no more expenditures tied to it for the rest of the year because the contract is finished. So all the expenditures as of December 31st will be all the expenditures that go to that function. There is one position, a lieutenant position, that was funded 50% through this budget. So we've got to amend the sheriff's office budget as well to pick up that other 50% of that lieutenant position. So that's why you see an addition to the expenditures for the budget for the sheriff's office. But this will clean it up. It will authorize us then to pretty well shut down the 303 activity because there should be no more expenses to it at all. And just for reference going forward, you will start seeing these on a quarterly basis for the entire organization. You may maybe not get the line item detail because that will be many pages, or we can get it for you if you want. But this is part of our administering the budget, keeping everything current as much as possible. So when we do get to the end of the fiscal year, there are no surprises. You're not looking at any deficits anymore. We'll have addressed everything throughout the fiscal year. This one's special because it was a department that literally had, a contract that ended. So it's time to clean that one up. Yeah.
Now, I talked to you earlier on this. Were you able to figure out the whole vehicle situation with, there was vehicles that were purchased by the sheriff's department for the sole purpose of running them in Ithaca. Now we inherited them back. But vehicles didn't show up on any of the description stuff, so.
So, the short answer is no. I can stop there. Just ironic that you called about that because last week we did ask for an inventory of all the vehicles that we have in our fleet. The sheriff provided them. Why did we ask that? Well, our insurance carrier said, you've got a claim in for a car deer accident that we want to process, but we don't show you owning the vehicle. Well, it turns out we had a couple of vehicles that have been rotated out. The old vehicles were still on the coverage.
The new ones
hadn't been added. So that's what got us going on the exercise.
Mhm.
The vehicles that were purchased specifically for the Ithaca contract are still, because this is the general fund, still part of the capital assets that we report for the county. They're counties. So as far as they're concerned, they're not going anywhere. But longer term, not only do I want to identify where those are, but which vehicles, you say a couple of them were out there with snow on them up until about a day or two ago. Are those vehicles operational? If not, what are we doing with them? And usually we would sell those at a surplus auction or something like that. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that if they're not usable, that we get them out and we get them replaced. But then get ourselves even on a rotation so that every few years, so many vehicles are rotated in and out. So that's the beginnings of all of this. That's a long-winded way of saying, no, we don't have it resolved, but we're on our way to.
On our way to.
Yeah.
How many cars do they have? The sheriff's office?
Gotcha. I was hoping nobody would ask that. I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but we do have the number.
Okay, that's all right.
And under appendix C, were you able to get to the bottom of the FTE thing?
I was. So what you're seeing there on appendix C is the actual movement of the personnel. Let's see, well, get the page, the terminology right. You pass every year with the budget, something called a staffing position allocation list, and that's actually required that you do that in the Uniform Budget and Accounting Act, so you know who's employed where. In this case, we had 4.5 full-time equivalents that were assigned to the Ithaca Road Patrol group. That half position was that road lieutenant. So what you're seeing there is that half position being moved over to the sheriff's office now. So we're not employing half a lieutenant, we're still keeping the whole person. So that's an increase to the sheriff's office budget. Now, as we were talking earlier, Commissioner Sapsi, you mentioned that perhaps that total FTE number was more or less.
Yeah.
This is actually what was adopted was the 24.5. That's literally in your budget itself. That's where I'm working from.
Okay.
But
Because that was
We will do-
openly discussed in here that wasn't right.
we will do a full-scale review ourselves internally of where our staffing positions are. And you will see it as part of when we start talking about the fiscal year 2027 budget, and you'll start seeing that in early summer. We will have all of this locked down. So you'll see it. You'll actually see a spreadsheet showing where our personnel are. So you won't have to worry about that in the future. You'll be able to turn right to that document.
Okay, good. Because like I said, that number doesn't equate to how many people are working over there. So, I mean, there's the.
Like I mentioned earlier, there's a fund, for instance, with the secondary road patrol that has positions.
Yeah.
You don't see them in here, but they are part of the sheriff's
And
office.
there's one for the drug team.
Right. So we'll organize this so that you can see everything that's under the sheriff's umbrella. You'll be able to see all.
All right.
Did we vote on that?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, now we need a motion. Excuse me.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution 26-372 and with all the changes that we've made.
Moved by Jan, supported by Tim to approve resolution 26-362, authorizing adjustments to the fiscal year budget. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, we come up to number 10. Laura?
Back before you again. I think this is our last time. I started presenting well over a year ago with some much needed changes for the prosecutor's office. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Laura Beaver. I'm the prosecuting attorney here. But in the course of that, we've had many things that I've asked commissioners to approve, some allowances for different softwares. You'll remember back in December of 2024, we proposed the hiring of a temporary position who would come in and help us get ready for our big software conversion. And then at the conclusion of that, we were then going to reorganize, reallocate staff, and actually get rid of a part-time staff person. That has all happened. So we had been operating with 5 full-time equivalent people, and we are now going down to 4. In the process of adding our software and really developing best practices in the prosecutor's office now, we have shifted considerably the job responsibilities of 3 of our 4 staff members. That being done, we worked with HR to get positions evaluated and reclassified, and what's been presented today is the reclassification, which affected 3 of our staff members. Those are listed sort of toward the bottom of resolution 26-373, and you'll see our current position, and I am requesting authorization for that reclassification. I am more than happy to answer any questions, but this was all part of that process that I've been talking about for probably the last year and a half or so.
So how many assistants do you have?
We have 4 attorneys, including myself, and 4 staff members. And they all have different jobs. One is felony clerk and our office manager and our lien supervisor. That's all one person. One is a misdemeanor clerk and a deputy lien tech. One is the crime victim witness coordinator. That's a grant-funded position that every prosecutor's office has. And then the other position used to be entirely a grant-supported position called family support coordinator, but she is now taken on juvenile clerk and mental health clerk as well. So the misdemeanor clerk, the felony clerk, and the juvenile clerk have all taken on considerable more responsibilities, and that was what necessitated the reclassification.
We're actually gonna go down in staff numbers
Yes,
from 5 to 4 plus the attorneys, which is 5 counting you, right?
4 county.
4 counting you, if we end up approving this, because you're trying to get it yourself.
Yes,
right?
we currently have 3 attorneys. We've been under attorneyed for a while at different times.
With that being in mind, is this money in your budget already then? I mean, I noticed that there's a total wage difference of $37,024. If we haven't had a full staff, do you already have this money budgeted then in your budget?
To answer that, I can tell you I'm not sure, because when we did our budget last year when we met with Ryan and Mary Ann, we explained to them what we were doing, the fact that at that time we were going through that process. And it was very clear that our staffing was for the staff that we currently had. So I can't tell you where that was, because at that time, I can't remember whether we had 3 attorneys or 4 attorneys or where we were. I know that we have been significantly understaffed
Yeah, you've,
for many periods of time.
yeah, for years, you
Right.
operating.
Essentially, since Keith left, I think was probably and 2 years before that, he was understaffed without an attorney too. Correct.
That's where I was like, really this, if you've already got this money budgeted, it's really not gonna affect our budget as far as the county's budget, if that money's already
I
there.
think the number.
Going forward is where it will change, but if we're eliminating a position and we're eliminating all of the benefits package that comes along with it, that's where I'm like, because that's the stuff that starts adding up in a hurry. I'm glad that you guys went through and did all these, the full reworks of everything. I just don't want to, you've been in this process for, like you said, over a year of doing this. I just don't want, we just did the whole wage study thing and gave significant raises to the people in your office and throughout the county. I just don't want this to start the avalanche of everybody thinking that they want to come in here and do the same thing. Where you have eliminated a position, given more responsibilities to people is why they're all going up in a grade or two. So I just was hoping that you were going to be able to say that as far as financially, that you had the money already sitting in your budget.
I would say to some extent, I think we do, but we would have, had we done the budget process the same way we did before. But the way we did our budget processing with Ryan and Marianne was a little different this year. And they basically said, okay, despite the fact that you're going to be asking for this, we're only budgeting you for what you currently have. So I think that may have taken out maybe an attorney's salary, which maybe, I'm not entirely sure. But yes, I can tell you, we have dramatically underutilized our full salary for a long time. But I think this year budgeting was done a little more conservatively. So I can't say for sure. Yes.
I know it was a totally new process, how you did your budget this year, where you guys were way more hands-on and it was very much more conservative than the stroke of a paintbrush kind of thing.
It's a wonderful budgeting process, I can say. In my years as a department head, I've never had as much input. So it was very, very nice to be able to sit and say, hey, remember, we are instituting this year. We need, so there was a lot more give and take and a lot more sort of considered discussion at the time. The other thing I will say is the job descriptions of primarily two positions has dramatically changed, and in a way that has dramatically changed the attorney's roles in our office. So with this new software, staff members used to be, I would say, a little more clerical, a little more, moving paperwork kind of thing. What happens now is almost, I will say, it's akin to a paralegal. It's very much legal work that's being done. They're legal decisions that staff members are able to make that considerably take things off our burden. I was talking to a prior chief assistant prosecutor who never worked with our current software and telling her the differences in my day-to-day life since we now have this, and things that, we used to spend hours doing that staff now is able to take care of. And it's truly remarkable. Chief Assistant Ryan Vallee is also here today and has been a huge help in not only these job descriptions, but in how our office is working, because his former office used the same software for a few years before he came here. So we have had that benefit as well in how to do things and how to do things the right way.
Tim, you and Todd worked most with the auditors. We're authorizing the potential to possibly, the money might be there, the money might not be there, you know what I mean? But my big thing is we haven't seen the audit results yet. I don't want to, overstep ourselves and then find out that things aren't as rosy as some people like to pretend they are.
You do have a contingency budget and definitely would absorb anything that's short in this office. But as the prosecutor mentioned, that number that you see is probably a good chunk of that there because they've had vacancies.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure.
So that I think is probably going to be a wash, but we won't know. We'll watch for sure as we do our quarterly adjustments.
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on that one in particular, and if we need to adjust, we'll do that.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve, resolution 26-373.
Second.
Moved by George, supported by Tim, to approve resolution 26-373 to approve the reclassification of positions within the prosecuting attorney's office. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Do I also have the opportunity to discuss or talk about the additional resolution? Are we able to consider that? That was also part of my memorandum, but there was no resolution submitted. So I guess I'm deferring to.
That was your memorandum, very first page, right?
Yeah, top page about asking for discretion or authority to offer a particular candidate outside the traditional step one or step two based on years of experience.
We've done this.
Separate solution then?
There is a separate resolution that
We don't have one written up or a number, right?
it's written up, it doesn't yet have a number.
Technically, you don't need a resolution to do that. A motion that you're agreeing to allow the prosecutor to do that would be sufficient. You're not really doing anything other than saying, go to that step 5.
Yeah, well, this is not new to the board. We've done this in past. We understand that in today's modern world, some of us don't like it so well, but things, you have to pay for what you get. And we've been realizing that around here for the last year. You have to pay for what you get.
Mhm.
So I'll make a motion that we allow the prosecutor's office to approach and hire attorney if need be to accept by or
Second.
Moved by George, supported by Steve and Tim, to approve the resolution. Prosecuting attorney can hire an attorney if needed. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you very much.
Glad it was you present, not that fuzzy faced guy sitting next to you.
We're down to what, 11?
11, yes.
Will not take a lot of your time. Angie has our annual report that we provide to the commissioners as well, so the cities of Elma and St. Louis and our township supervisors. Been a good year for 2025 and going into 26. The reason we are asking for continued funding from the commissioners at $2,500 is that initially, when we were incorporated in 2015, we were a totally voluntary organization for about 7 years. And then we realized that we were not getting a whole lot done. We meant well, but just things were not happening the way we wanted. Today, I'm pleased to say that when we start the summer water testing for this coming summer, it'll be a $10,000 price tag. That is money that's paid directly to the college for equipment, supplies, interns, and the professor that does the actual oversight of the testing. We also have hired a septic liaison 3 years ago that has now worked with Riverdale, Sumner, Elm Hall, and Elwell. And we've now worked successfully with over 300 homes in those rural communities, residents on or close to the river, and validating that their septics are in good working order. We also are in the process of writing many grants. You may have heard that we received a $298,000 grant from Eagle Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, and that is designed for the State Street Dam in Elma and the impoundment to do a feasibility study. Not removing the dam, we're not doing anything other than trying to better understand through engineer work what are the options for dealing with the tremendous degradation that's going on there. So, and we also have a I think, a very strong outreach program that is now moving into our children at the elementary, high school, and middle school levels. That's all in your report. There are some very real concerns about the river. And frankly, if you're around the river or in the river, you know that according to the Mid-Michigan Department of District Health Department, that it presents a contamination issue and because of the E. coli bacteria that's well above state acceptable standards for full or partial body immersion. We can now tell you that from last summer, we started a process looking at home values and how they're impacted if you live on or near the river, and that's coming back with data that's not very encouraging. We have several community parks and county parks that border the river for obvious reasons because of such a terrific asset for the county. 2 decades ago and well beyond, when people swam, boated, kayaked, canoed, pontoon boat, skied, those things are not happening much anymore. Fish populations are endangered because the sediment is covering fish beds. Climate in the impoundments changed, so fish species are changing. So there's a lot to be worried about. And so that's our job, is to try and do what we can to restore the Pine River and its water and our watershed to a healthy state. It's a we thing, frankly. It's, it's highly contaminated. Septics, manure from our livestock farms, fertilization. There's a lot of reasons for it. We're not pointing fingers at anybody. It's a we thing. If we want to do something about leaving the greatest water resource in this county in better hands for our children and their children, we gotta pull together and make it happen. Or we pass on to our future generations kind of a crappy legacy, if you know what I mean. So I would entertain any questions you have. Jan?
You do do you work with the Conservation District at all?
We do. In fact, Ladine Anderson has been on our board. She just left the board recently, but we co-authored the Upper Pine River Management Plan, which is roughly a 450-page booklet that guides what we do. And then the other thing that we did with the Conservation District is we co-authored a Watershed Council grant in 2023. That was about a $32,000 grant that helped with capacity building. We just submitted another Watershed Council grant by Healthy Pine River. Ladine submitted one for the Conservation District. We submitted a different one. Both are in Eagle's hands right now, and those determinations will be sometime this spring. Our grant was for roughly $30,000 for working collaboratively with the farm community. So that was the focus of our grant. So any other questions?
You said what your name was?
I'm flippantly, I want to say Jose Hermano, but I won't do that. Chuck Sandra, I'm co-chair of Healthy Pine River.
That's more for the people
I
on
understand.
TV.
So that's the menu. It's back in the.
I live in St. Louis, near the river, and it seems like it's getting worse instead of better. Is it because of all the CAFOs and all that kind of stuff?
It's a combination of things. Yeah,
It's, you guys have been working on it forever.
Right.
Just come to your meetings.
Testing is telling us that it's primarily manure runoff from the fields, and also because so many of our farms have tiled, which we understand. They want to remove the excess water to assist in their crop production, et cetera. So we understand that. But the tiling really creates a much faster process. So it leaches 2 to 3 feet to the drain tiles, then into the tributaries, whether it be a drain 96, which is near my home, or into a creek, and then it moves on to the Pine River. And
Also, doesn't it run into, eventually it goes through the river and out to the Great Lakes? Is that right?
it does. In fact, what happens with our stuff that we're sending is that it's moving to the Chippewa River because we join Chippewa River inside Midland County. then to the Tittabawassee, then to Saginaw Bay. And there's very much a concern about that, particularly the phosphorus levels that are.
Appreciate all that you do, you guys. And I did get an invitation to come to one of your meetings. I'm hoping to come. And I want to give you a check too tonight for a membership.
Thank you.
Sometimes I get it in there and sometimes I forget to do it, but tonight, since you're here, write you a check.
Thanks. We are having our before hours breakfast again on March 12th, which is at the Masonic Pathways Doig Center, Conference Center. And that gives us a chance to meet with the chamber, the business community, young professionals, and a number of the service organizations, and our township, county, and city officials. They're all invited. We've sent that on to you. And we hope you'll come and join us. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to share what we've learned and what we hope to do about the concerns that we've raised. And I will share with you too that Jan's comment about St. Louis and that impoundment, we are doing specifically now, we're in our second year of doing specific testing for St. Louis. Sugar Creek is highly contaminated. We thought both horse and sugar might be, but horse is pretty decent. Sugar Creek is highly contaminated, and we could not understand why, because frankly, there were not a lot of growing fields or opportunities for runoff. What we have found is a hidden county drain that was not used for years, but was rehooked a couple of years ago, according to residents up in the Forest Hills area. So we're working on that right now, very site specific. And Kurt Giles and I and the Drain Commissioner and Healthy Pine River are all collaborating on that, along with our septic liaison, Mikey Van Horn. So we hope to have more information this summer based on our testing.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Check, I'll give you a check.
I so move that we
Thank you, Jim.
consider to approve resolution 26-374 to approve an agreement for the Pine River Restoration Services not to exceed $2,500.
Support. Moved by Steve, supported by Tim, to adopt the resolution. Approve an agreement for the Pine River Restoration Services not to exceed $2,500. We probably better have a roll call on that one.
Question. For contracting services, are we gonna supplement that with a contract? A contract? Okay,
And it's written up, well,
yeah, that's why I read the services. I just want to make sure that was, everybody knew that's a contract.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes. Next, we have resolution 376.
Which version?
One that was handed out tonight.
One is upside down.
One that's upside down with a number on it?
A resolution to accept hazardous mitigation assistance grant agreement for $63,000. That'll cover a period from November 19th, 2025 to August 7th, 2029.
So move that we approve resolution number 26-376. A FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Award in the amount of $63,000.
Support. Moved by Steve, supported by Tim. To accept the hazard mitigation assistance grant from FEMA for $63,000. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Got through the big stack.
Hear a motion? Oh, have any other unfinished business? Any public comment?
I make a motion to go into the airport.
Or moved by Tim, supported by George, to enter into the airport meeting. Dennis, you're up.
No, I'm the airport manager. I sent in the management report. Other than plowing snow, weather, which has restricted some of the activity at the airport in January and into February here. I think we only had 33 sales of fuel in the 100 low lead site in January. And I think 20 some of those sales were in 3 days. I think it was the 8th, January 8th, January 16th, and the 26th. Otherwise, we had 21 days where there was no fuel sales. And the weather, of course, was not very good in January. A lot of, we did some major plowing, but a lot of it was small snowfalls. So the runways might have been fine, but stuff would drift in around the fuel farm, in between the T hangars and all that stuff. So we just had to do some cleanup instead of some major stuff. We do appreciate the warm weather. We had a lot more activity. If you look in the second page there, like I said, 21 days, we didn't have any fuel sales. Last year at the same time, we had 9 days or 8 days of fuel sales. So that's just the difference in the weather and activity. And 24, we had 21 days where we didn't have any fuel sales. So each year is, of course, a little bit different. Jet A, we sold just one sale of Jet A. We had one jet in, 160 gallons, compared to last year, which was 521 gallons of Jet A that was sold. On the 100 low lead side, we sold 651 gallons compared to 918 the previous year, but higher than in 24 when we had the same number of days where we had no fuel sales. So, and other than that, I don't know, today, at the meeting this morning, we had a pre-buy meeting at the airport with the engineering firm for our lighting for runway 927, rehabilitation of those lighting. The bids will be coming out, the actual bids need to be in toward the end of the month. So we'll see where that comes in for the lighting project. As you remember, the asphalt between the T hangars and stuff was approved, and we assigned that in March, I think. And it was supposed to be done later in the summer. And when the funding got through from Michigan MDOT, we didn't get the funding till October 9th, so we canceled that project until the spring. So we don't have any dates as of right now when we will do that asphalt work. So I don't know, Tim, were you going to talk about the letter that the Michigan MDOT wanted on the grant request for the terminal? The commissioners have seen that or.
Okay, but we got it. We got it in there.
Mhm.
Okay. So, all right, just make sure everybody's aware of that. So, and then I was also at the meeting today where we talked about the agricultural land leases, a pre-bid meeting for that. So, the next 2 days, I'm going to be at the Michigan Association of Airport Executives meeting in Lansing, Michigan MDOT. People will be there and be different topics handing out. I can share that agenda with everyone. So, but whether it'll be cooperative, so some years we've set up to go to that and snow still stays. So nobody's got to plow snow. So, anyway, any questions about what in January?
last month, so.
Just do what you can to get better weather.
Well, not. in control of that, obviously.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, we talked to the man already. I don't know if he's gonna help us, but I did talk to him. Remember in my prayer, I talked to him.
Consideration to end the airport meeting and go into the finance.
Or
Moved by Tim, supported by George to leave the airport meeting, enter into the finance meeting. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
As I've seen in the past few months, cash balance at the end of January. You can see the trend on this sheet. There's a lot of information on here, but so January 26th, general fund, 9.2 million. The income tax fund, we're sending about 8.2. So in total, $17.4 million is the cash balance into January. So have in front of you the check register for the month. Hopefully you've had time to take a quick look at that. We'll change it up a little bit. with the
This is
board just
way easier to understand.
so in total,
I did have some questions on things. This was,
which is good.
this was a lot easier to understand what you were looking at.
Unfortunately, there's only so many characters you can put in your description, so you can't get too carried away, but for the month itself, 1.968 million was the total expenditures. Includes checks, ACH payments to vendors, try to do as much electronically as we can.
Looking through there, I was seeing that it costs us a lot of money to run that hotel that Tom has across the parking lot there.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Now we know where there's an explanation where the money the check went.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Now, one of the questions I had asked earlier and I got the result, but that should wind in way down now from what I understand from they'll have one more bill or something, right? Because of answers they had to come up with for the audit. Is that correct?
There might be a little bit there.
Yeah.
I think in the transition timeframe, Marianne wasn't the one, but Barb was helping out with the major pool account reconciliation that she was finishing up for December. So that might be one of the last lingering.
Last thing, that's what.
So it should be pretty minimal.
So it should
going
be.
forward.
Yeah. Now, do we still have Woodhill Group working? Where else? Are they still working in your office at all? Okay, so this was the kind of the tail end of the county having them here for services, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question too. Numbers, I don't know. Oh, page 14. I see that we have DTE projects, and I'm wondering, does the county pay that, or does that go back to, that's for Spicer Group? So we're paying this amount of money. I guess I don't understand quite how this works. So does the county pay for that, or does the township pay for it?
That's one of them that I had asked about as well.
The probability is going to be drain related. If it's a township thing, townships are getting the bill, the county's not getting the bill.
So why is it on here then?
Spicer also does work for the drain commission.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Spicer does work for the drain commission.
Okay,
He probably went through DTE's territory, so that's where that explanation.
they do it for DTE, but DTE is putting in things for townships, right?
They pay
The
their.
explanation I got was Spicer invoices were for the past due invoices that were never received from July, October, November, and December of 2025. The invoices were addressed to Carla Childers with our address. We've spoken with Kayla at Spicer to straighten out these invoice issues. So they were addressed to the wrong person. So they came here but they didn't get, nobody, Carla's with the planning and zoning. So they didn't get open, so that's how they ended up getting in this position, so.
Those things that part of that whole internal control,
Mhm.
we'll look at is how things are processed internally.
I
It tends to be issues when the more items they come through, and if they aren't routed to a centralized location, they can get lost in the abyss.
see on page 17 too, we have more. There's at a lot, I mean, 8,000, 7,000, and this is engineering for Spicers
Oh, yeah.
Which page?
on 17,
For Spicer.
up at the top, 17. Spicer Group is on the left-hand side of the right-hand side is usually invoice numbers, and it says engineering.
17 at the, like.
That's the
here?
page up,
17?
Old Spicer Group's kind of mid, after Sherry Moon, okay. These say storm, I'm sure this is all drain stuff, because it's stormwater. Stuff for the drain.
The Drain Commission.
Yeah, that'll all be stuff for the drain commission. Those will be,
Okay, so.
that section.
Okay.
It's number 50, those are the drain numbers. It's all for drain stuff. I mean, I don't know for 1,000%.
So if, we'll say, we pay it, so then the township or somebody owes us, when they pay us, where do you put that then? Where would that come in?
Townships don't owe us for that, for any of that work. That's drain commission work.
Even the,
Drain commission will wind up when they get to a certain point, then it'll be part of the drains at large, which the county general fund has a component piece to it. Local townships have a component piece, and then it's passed on to all of us as taxpayers, property owners.
okay,
That's how the drain.
When it comes to drain assessment revenue.
We can learn. Which has been pretty manageable last year, you know. Bernie on the back.
there's a few more bullets, but I can't find the page.
And then you have the revenue expenditure report. Instead of trying to manipulate things, I just wound up taking one of the reports right out of BSNA, which adds a few pages to it, but same information is there. Take a look. Basically, you got 4 out of the 12 months completed. And just like Tim pointed out with the budget amendment for that police activity or the agreement with the city, that's need to happen. Here, nothing looks too out of whack. We got 4/12, so you got 33 and a third of the month of your year completed. So when you're looking on the expense side, if anything exceeding that 34%, that's when we have to start taking a look if it's just.
You don't have a lot of them. You got a couple of them written over, but.
And they're one-time things for the year that might just be a time. So nothing too out of whack at this point.
Good.
It is it.
Okay. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, thank you, Todd.
Getting more clear all the time. Oh, it's clear as mud now.
Crystal.
Crystal clear.
Hello.
Okay.
I don't have a lot to report tonight. My usual reports have been submitted to you. As far as audit goes, we've submitted all of our requirements so far. I know there's always kickback and more questions, but so far we are, we've completed all of those tasks. As far as our investments go, they're still holding in there pretty good.
Oh, yeah, a little bit down, but
Less than $155.
yeah, but not much.
Last
As I
month.
said.
Yeah, no.
No, but overall.
Overall, yes, overall,
Speaking.
but with these
Yeah.
investments, they're
No,
still
that's,
doing pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
I had a question for you. So our second Huntington Bank one down here is general fund, and it shows 591,000, right?
Yeah,
Now, But our general fund shows 9.2 million on the sheet Todd gave us. That's where we're currently standing. So I guess,
Excuse me.
money, where is that money held? And apparently that's not earning any sort of interest. These are specific investments. I understand that. So that other money
Mhm.
is where?
That's our operating money. That is money that we keep a certain amount in the bank every day. And what's over and above that washes out in an insured cash sweep. That goes out into treasury.
Do our investment portfolio, this stuff that you're.
That is not included in there. Only one of them is included in there because it's operating money. The one that you're seeing is a savings account that we've had for a long time.
I know this thing's been on here for.
Yep. And the other two are other operating accounts. Those do go out and earn interest, but they're not on there because they're not considered investments.
Okay.
And I hand George a report every month of the total amount of
I
interest
get,
that is.
I get the actual total amount. Because it's not recorded, it's just a different way they record it.
It's our operating money, so it's not recorded on the investments, but I do submit a report
I've
every
been
month
keeping kind of a
to,
running
or
total of it.
and it is a running total. If you'd like a copy of it, you're more than welcome to have it.
It was just,
Mm.
one says one thing, we got 9.2 million and one says we got just under 600,000, you know what I mean? So, and I understood there had to be some form of interest coming in off of that large of a sum of money.
Yes,
It's not invested like these are invested in CDs and.
correct. That's our operating money. It does go out and earn interest, but it's not included on that report
Yeah, because
because
we gotta be able to get our hands on it when we need it. Todd.
Exactly, so it just rolls back into operating money. You know what I'm saying?
the way it used to be set up, I would have to contact the bank to actually move cash in and out. And when all that happened in California, I went to the bank and said, this isn't working for me because we had so much out there that wasn't protected. So we made a new plan and this is how it works and it's been working very well.
Yeah, they've done a good job making sure everything's right.
Yeah.
Took a while.
I have a question for you. About 2 years ago, Bethany Township invested in a company called Michigan Class.
Yes,
And so we also did the same thing.
we've had that for a long time, Jan.
Okay, where are we with that?
Just somebody
It's on that report that
right there.
I'll give you mine, Jan, so you can see.
Okay. Michigan Class is the
It's this
middle
Yeah,
money market.
Michigan Class
It's there.
in here. We've got the road commission and we've got ours.
so which one would be Michigan?
Michigan Class right there.
Oh, right there, I
Yep.
see it.
And then this is ours.
Okay, and so does it tell, like, where did we start and how much have we made already? I can't remember how much we invested in it.
I would have to go back and look.
Oh,
I
yeah, that's not a
I don't
problem.
have this in front of me right now.
Next time, next month.
This is rolling. Well,
But 3.84 is not very good for interest.
Actually, right now, it is.
not that bad right now.
It is.
Know that we're trying to get,
We were close, we were over 4.5% at one time, but
They've cut back every,
interest rates
a
are
lot.
coming down
Mhm.
overall, and
And-
that, we move with it. That's the way it is.
And if you look at that sheet, it's comparable.
Yeah.
So,
That's why I said.
yeah, Michigan Class does very well.
Considering we're doing
as
that.
a kid, I used to get 5% on my money.
Well, that was just a couple years ago. I realized, Jan,
Today.
things have changed a lot. But no, the Michigan Class is very comparable, if not better than most other establishments because it's a government investing company. So, and a lot of the townships have utilized it.
Yeah.
It is your best interest. Michigan is your best interest.
And they do a good job. One thing is, one of the reasons why, not us so much, but the townships do it, they can get their money tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that's nice for them.
Yeah.
It really is a benefit for them to have that. Do they use it that way? Not most of the time, but there always is a situation. They're always worried about putting money in the bank because what if we need it? Well, this solves the problem.
Yeah, it does
They're
because
very
it's
nice to work
fluid
with. They're very great people to work with.
and it's online. Actually, I was just at a conference and they want to come and talk to the townships, again, have a meeting, just to make sure everybody understands things, and who's got any questions, you know, anything like that. So we're going to set something like that up pretty soon. So.
No, it's really a benefit to them if they want to use it as a tool. It really works well.
Yeah, because they can just get online and take money out or
It
put
helps,
money
it
in.
helps township treasurers, they have other jobs,
Yes, they do.
all right? They can't keep, so the best way to keep track of all that is to put it in a spot. And what's nice about it, if they need to move it, and do something else, but they can do that.
Mhm.
Just by a computer.
Yeah.
So
And they can have several little funds
That's a great
inside
thing,
their
yeah.
investment to keep track of. If they've got, I don't know, roads or whatever they want to do in the townships, they can have all those little funds and keep them separate. So not
Yeah,
everything.
they can have their own road fund, everything else in that and make an interest and doing them a better job.
Yeah. So it's a nice place for them to invest anything that,
Would it have been better to put it in a CD?
Oh,
no.
God, no.
It's not fluid that way. You
gotta
can't
get-
get
you
to
gotta
it
be
in
able
the
to-
next day. You can, but yep, I got it right under those papers right there, Tom. Dennis found it. I was gonna give it to Steve actually to see if he could get it back. It's okay. You're welcome. They can't get it the next day out of a CD. They could, but they'd be penalized. And with this, you're not.
Well, like say you have a 500,000, or say you got 1 million.
Hmm?
Put half of that in a CD and half of it into the interest, would that?
Gonna get better.
Make you more-
They're gonna get better rates on what they got.
Michigan class has very good interest rates, so.
At or better.
Mhm.
It's just no way, good way of making money these days.
Come up with it, let me know, would you? I will.
Legally, anyhow.
Yeah.
Not going there, Steve.
Thanks, Terry.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Yep.
Tim, should we go back to the regular meeting?
We have replace we have an agenda item.
Yeah.
To talk
Well-
about the,
I missed something.
I make,
There's a resolution about the H.
Got a resolution.
Yeah,
375.
HVAC unit.
Oh,
Consideration of approval.
I forgot that.
and I think this is my office.
I forgot that.
You're wrong.
Yes. Very hot summer.
Replacement of the north annex. Rooftop. Engagement of my.
It's like,
I don't have my orientation yet as to what's the annex and which way is north.
Not sure that the north annex is actually north anyhow. It's more west.
there,
Yeah, isn't that the north annex? Hmm?
it's their offices.
No, I don't believe it's in this building at all. Isn't the north annex across the street? That's the north annex. The one that's on the west side of the road. Yeah.
West. It's
I
west.
believe that's the building they call the north.
We don't,
Yeah, this building.
well, if you consider all how this courthouse is, it's got this little section, this little section, and that,
Yeah. I just was, you're wrong.
I did.
Did you get, and
in each.
I knew you had, that's the ship we spend.
Mhm.
That's what we authorized to check. Is to spend this investment. You don't put your fingers on. it.
No.
That's their.
It's in all improvement.
And now do compound interest and let it continue to produce and we pull that up.
Yeah,
Rubber stamp it.
yeah.
I can put that up.
Okay, I make a motion.
That's where it goes.
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion to, replacement of the north annex.
And
Whatever.
this is the road commission.
HVAC.
Yeah.
Road
Commission,
unit.
there's air conditioning, there's all those different things.
No, where's that money coming from?
That.
It's in the capital improvement,
I thought.
you know.
I just wanted to make sure the acute public knows.
Need anything else?
Okay. Tim made a motion. George seconded to replace the HVAC units on the roof. All those in favor? We better have a roll call on that one.
Is that the only one that's up there?
We're not sure where it's at.
Like we- I was thinking that we,
That's one right there. You can see it off the window.
yeah, I was
That's-
thinking that we replaced one of 4 times now.
Well,
Commissioner
that one's
King.
here.
Yes or no?
She said yes or no.
Huh?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Big and it's
Commissioner
easier to put
Bessie.
one in the.
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey.
Yes.
Air conditioner heat.
Yes, motion carried.
The HVAC units, those do.
Are we done?
Yeah,
Engagement letter.
Oh, they gotta weigh a ton, to get them up there.
Do anything.
that's why they have.
If
They have this.
Did that already.
$50 that.
I make a motion to exit the finance meeting to go into our regular meeting.
For the purpose
The support for the purpose of?
Purpose
For the
of.
purpose of paying the bill.
There you go.
There we go.
I don't know why we say that because you've already paid them.
We make it official.
That
Makes it official.
voted for. It's a simple way to do it.
Moved by Tim, supported by George to exit the finance meeting, go into the regular meeting for the purpose of paying the bills. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Public comment.
No, he already said that.
Oh, okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Moved by Steve, Tim, supported by George to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at
You're gonna say-
5:56.